Listen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hollywood Uncensored Podcast, episode number 14. It is your one and only favorite host, Hollywood Holguin, and I am joined by always my co-host, Orange E. Welcome back, brother. And today we have our very first guest of the podcast, my good brother, somebody I've known for quite a few years now, the man, the one and only, the owner of Gold Coast Federation, the homie, RJ Wallace. Some of you know him as Jamal, but the owner of GCF, RJ.
What's up, y'all? I mean, I feel pretty honored to be your first guest, man. This is dope. This is dope. This is cool. This is dope, man.
It's been a while since me and you have been talking about doing a possible podcast. We've been floating that idea for like quite a while now.
Yeah, man. I remember talking to you about, coming to True 100 and, doing the show. I mean, it's still a possibility,
Yeah.
We haven't really launched yet, we still do some things,
Yeah. All right. Orange G, how have you been? It's been quite a while since we've been talking.
Yeah, I'm chilling just over here, drinking my beer and getting ready for a pod.
Yeah, I'm out of White Claw. That's the only damn shame about this one tonight.
Oh, man.
I got way too late during WrestleMania weekend. The 2 nights. Yeah. Dude.
Hey, that was definitely a good time, though, man.
Well, RJ, why don't you let us know about GCF for everybody at home to know what you stand with GCF as the owner of Gold Coast Federation. Not a lot of people in the world are owners of an independent wrestling company, especially in these difficult times that we're living in, this current situation that's affected everybody, but mostly, you as an owner. I would love to get your perspective of how you're handling this whole thing, and if you can give us some info about GCF.
Yeah, man. So I own an independent wrestling company out here in Orange County, California, called Gold Coast Federation. My man Hollywood over here, he started doing a lot of camera work for us, and now he's our lead announcer. He's our Michael Cole. So he's been moving up in the ranks, and he's part of our creative team. He writes a lot of our storylines. Helps my buddy Joey out, Mr. Joseph Saint. On the creative team. We started 2 years ago, man.
Yeah.
We kind of wanted to build something, kind of bring wrestling out to Orange County because there's not a lot of that out here as far as like independent or pro wrestling, and WWE barely comes out here. So fans don't really get wrestling like that without having to drive up to LA and sit next to all those marks at PWG. Am I right?
Yep.
But yeah, man, it was just an idea that I had, and me and a couple of my friends who are also in the company too. We just thought of just doing our own thing and kind of starting it off, and we trust me, like we went through so many hoops and links to get things off the ground. Our first show was legendary, but we've definitely come a long way from that first show.
Absolutely.
We kind of just taken it in stride. this break wasn't really good for everyone, but I feel like for us, we all kind of took the initiative and kind of took this time to figure out, a game plan of, what we need to do to advance and, get better, put on better shows. We were putting on really good shows anyway, but, you can always get better. You can always, step your game up. And I think we've used that time wisely to kind of, put together things. We did the WrestleMania stream last weekend. That was really successful. That was, that was definitely a last minute idea, but, it went off without a hitch. We were able to stream it live on our YouTube channel. And, it was pretty successful. We got pretty good feedback. We got almost 200 people watching it. It was great.
Subscriber too. Grew the platform.
We got growing subscribers. Right now I'm silently working on getting some new venues for shows. So we can expand that way. I'm working on a couple high schools, working on just a couple bigger spots to bring shows in. And just me and the boys are working hard. The creative team putting storylines together. Joseph Satan. I mean, he's getting restless because we aren't having wrestling shows.
I know. I've seen this tweet the last few days.
Yeah, he's going crazy. We haven't done a Mats and Marks podcast in about a month. He's kind of losing his marbles there. But I mean, writing storylines and watching old GCF matches is kind of keeping him afloat right now. So we got to hurry up and get this curve flattened so we can keep Joseph Satan sane. But, I mean,
he's about to lose it. If you're reading his
he's
on there, man. That dude is on the edge.
He's yay close. I've called him at 4 a.m. way too many times for him to answer and be wide awake. So we got to get my boy back rolling. But I mean, as an owner, I mean, it hasn't really hit us that hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we were one of the bigger companies anyway. We were making lots of money off of this. We were all kind of chipping in on our own with this thing. So we haven't taken a hit that way. I just know a lot of our guys are eager to get back in the ring, get back behind the camera, get back on the mics, get rolling. So we're more excited for that. So that's what I'm excited for.
Yeah, this weekend was probably the toughest, for quarantine and chill so far, for me at least, because I'm chilling Saturday, no White Claw, nothing to do, playing 2K for the 32nd, 33rd day, lost count.
Bro.
I get a notification on my phone, Facebook, and I'm like, okay, check it out. And it tells me, you have an event today.
Yeah, man.
Maximum Carnage 2. And it just stung, dude, because I'm like, in a different universe, I am at the dojo setting up with TJ Suave. Bless TJ. Hope he's had a great Easter.
Right.
And me and him would be calling the action and getting ready for another fantastic night of GCF wrestling. This was a tough weekend. Man. It just stung a little bit more than usual.
Yeah, man. I was video chatting with our champion Chris Cadillac on the toilet, and don't ask, long story. But yeah, man. He had hit me up the night before. I was like, man, we should be getting ready for a show tomorrow, boss. I was like, yeah, dude, we should be. I should be, stressing out about, money or what wrestlers are going to show up on time or,
set up.
Yeah, just set up which wrestlers are going to piss me off, where the referees at, small things, the intricacies of putting a show on.
And as always, the GCF after party at Tomcat, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was probably the most disappointing thing, just walking past Tomcat to go to 7-Eleven and seeing the parking lot empty, just envisioning me being there, or my ex-girlfriend showing up and ruining my day, shit like that, just a normal GCF wrestling day.
Yeah, the chaos it takes to make a show. I truly missed it. But that brings us to our next topic here. So what's going to happen here is obviously me and RJ are very fluent when it comes to wrestling. E, really not that much. He's more of the outside looking in perspective. So it's going to be cool to get his perspective from the wrestling world from a non-fan. What I wanted to talk about mostly today was the WWE, pretty much with everything that's going down. NBA gone, MLB gone, MLS, NHL, is gone, UFC is gone, AEW gone after the next 2 weeks. The WWE live shows, live Monday Night Raws, NXTs, and SmackDown in the state of Florida, which has the third or fourth worst cases of coronavirus. But that's not even
Florida should just fall off the map at this point.
It should really just saw it off and let it go to Cuba.
What is wrong with Florida? I'd rather have Cuba instead of Florida. That's the problem.
The Castros, we'll get Florida out of here. But my biggest thing with WWE, it's okay, that's fine and dandy. And I did thank Vince McMahon after WrestleMania for giving us 6 hours of a distraction. But that was before finding out that an employee, somebody that works for them, that was there during the recordings, tested positive for Rona.
Yeah.
And we don't find this out till 2 weeks later because there was a memo sent to the talent. And pretty much this memo was well, it's not optional to show up, but, we're still going live. I would love to you as an owner to give me your perspective and your opinion of what the hell Vince McMahon is doing currently right
now. Look, even his own kids have said over the years, it's hard to tell what Vince McMahon is thinking or what he's doing till it happens. You've heard the stories of him scrapping whole shows 2 hours before it happens and rewriting them. Or, demanding talent show up at times, still sending them to Saudi Arabia after all this blood money stuff, But I mean, as an owner, this is some pretty bad stuff. I mean, he used his stroke with his good buddy Donald, his good buddy Trump. And you know how the Republicans love Florida, so he's got Trump's got Mar-a-Lago down there that's still apparently only open to him.
She's got that fan connection.
Yeah, and that his wife is in Trump's cabinet. So I mean, I figured it was going to happen. I thought it would happen sooner, but I didn't think, given that Trump had a conference call with all of the owners of all sporting organizations, that this is the conclusion Vince McMahon came to. And that even if he did get the clearance and the authority, he's still, and knowing that, one of his employees tested positive for this, and it was probably at Mania, was probably working in the offices, was probably around a bunch of people, still said, we're going to do Raw live. Not pre-taped, we're going to do it live. It's pretty disingenuous to not just your talent, but all your staff, man. It's just a bad move in the long run. I love wrestling. Don't get me wrong. Wrestling is a huge distraction for me. But, I mean, I have YouTube. I have the network. I just downloaded the TNA wrestling app thing. I mean, we can do without live WWE, especially without live WWE for about a month.
Yeah, it's not essential.
It's not. It's not. And what does that say about other actual essential businesses that Florida said WWE is an essential business? As Ronda Rousey would call it, fake fighting. Scripted fighting is an essential business.
Well, I know what you think about all that going into it, because I mean, I would love to know your perspective as RJ just let us know. It's not essential. I want you to take that into consideration too. Like, there's plethora of ways for us to watch wrestling. It's not like it's a weekly thing.
We're not at a loss.
Yeah,
we're not at a loss at all. So I mean, yeah, it's definitely a bad move. You're putting your whole roster at risk, and now, after the dust settled on Mania, and after this happens, all those guys who dropped out or backed out of Mania are totally justified now for dropping out, because this is pretty ridiculous. Your boss, this is literally your boss showing how much he does not care.
Really doesn't
about his employee. I'm almost certain these guys do want to wrestle and get in the ring, but at what cost? How much do you love what you're doing that you're willing to put your life at risk? And The Miz still showed up to SmackDown last week, and he was still sick.
2 weeks ago,
yeah.
Whenever they did record this, it's wild, man. Let us know what you think about this situation, because again, outside perspective, I just want to know what you think, if this is the correct move, or do you think they should just shut this whole thing down?
There's a few reasons why I don't follow wrestling anymore, and that's not what we're discussing today. Maybe Joseph and I can Hollywood and I can
mostly, bro. Edit that out. I'm just kidding.
I know, I fucked up, my bad. Let's start thinking. All right, so maybe Hollywood and I can discuss that on a different episode. Why he follows it and I don't. But I'm not really surprised at what Vince does at this point. You know what I mean? RJ definitely said it best. He has a lot of friends in very powerful places. That are able to I don't want to say bail him out, but kind of in a sense they kind of stat pat him. You know what I mean? He has a security blanket with an unlimited amount of money and an unlimited amount of investors. And I don't have all the information. I don't follow, the logistics of it all. But I feel like he's not really scared of losing, because at this point, the only thing he's losing is really his credibility. I mean, yeah, he's losing a lot of money, but he has
a long time ago.
Yeah. Like he has so many different ways of making money. You know what I mean? So I'm sure he's not swaying the money itself. He's probably just more so swaying like his own, like the bigger scale of things. You know, like his ego, all this different. In my opinion, I'm not surprised at what Vince does at this point, basically.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. My take is just that, like, it's unbelievably unprofessional. I mean, this dude has a laundry list of shit that he's done throughout his career that it would take a whole hour just to go through all the damn shit that he's done. Just mentioning one, when Owen Hart died in a ring, literally ringside, the show continued.
The show must go on.
Yeah, the cop showed up, took a dead body, and they pushed on through. They said, we're going to keep going. And they were live on pay-per-view. So I'm not surprised by this. My only problem is just the amount of WWE marks that seem to just be defending this and thinking that this is essential. Like you said, they have a plethora of content that they could share. They have a whole network worth of featurettes and specials. And they could even re-air old matches and old shows and use things like Zoom or Skype to put their talent in there to react to these certain moments. My biggest issue is when people keep saying, oh, well, they're saying it's optional. Optional doesn't mean a damn thing in pro wrestling, man. When they tell you it's optional and you're not somebody like Roman Reigns, John Cena, Goldberg, Taker, one of those big time stars, optional means, hey, you can show up or you cannot show up. And guess what? You're going to go behind the back of the line. And we're probably not going to use you because now you're going to be on the shit end of the stick with Vince because he's going to know who showed up and who didn't show up. That guy cares about that kind of stuff. So it's not optional. A guy like Buddy Murphy, a guy like Aleister Black, Cedric Alexander, Ricochet, all of the female talent, unless Charlotte or Becky or Shayna at this point, all of them pretty much are in the outside looking in where it's like, well, I could stay home and be safe with my family, or I could fly to Florida and make sure my job and my status in the company is safe. Because essentially saying optional is saying, do you want your status with us to be safe or not? Do you want to sell merchandise? Do you want to be pushed by our company? To me, that's a dangerous precedent to put. That they shouldn't get to that point. They're risking literally their health, the health of others, for a show that doesn't really mean a thing. They're going to put this whole Triple H 25-year anniversary show in 2 weeks. Why not just take the next 3 to 4 weeks showing old Triple H matches? Or old Raws that show Evolution, or the build to Batista and Triple H, or the build to Randy Orton and Triple H, Mick Foley, Triple H. They have a whole catalog, a whole library of stuff. And that's what pisses me off more. It's like AEW just started. They're in more need of doing this shit than the WWE. They're the ones that just signed the TV deal with TNT. When they bring up this TV deal with WWE, that's nobody's fault but Vince and his terrible booking and his terrible creative team. So because creative team and booking, now all these wrestlers literally have to risk their lives and fly out to the PC Center where somebody already contacted Rona, and now they're in all risk because they have to put on some live show because now Fox and NBC and USA apparently they could change the writing of the deal that they currently made. But let me tell you, that's not the issue. The issue is that the last few weeks and months and years, the ratings for WWE have plummeted, my boys. Like, the Raw before WrestleMania, they had the worst ratings in company's history. The Raw before WrestleMania. That is absolutely
insane. Bad.
And that's not Corona's fault. That's Vince's fault. So why the hell are these guys being punished for this old senile asshole's decisions? I'm just absolutely shocked that that this dude is literally continuing to push. The fact that he gave licenses to all the talent that says they're in sensual media. And that the fact that they dropped a video today that pretty much says like, oh, we wanted you guys to be aware of Corona. No, tell your talent to be aware of Corona. They're the ones that are risking their lives, not us. We're at home watching the content. It's wild to me. I can't believe that they're the last one standing in this whole melee of mess.
So, yeah, it's bad, dude.
This is for you, Hollywood. What do you say to those people that say that this is just more of a brand hatred that you have for the WWE more than it is leadership? What do you say to those people that are in your DMs or in your comment section saying that you just want to see WWE like fail?
Dude, it's not. I think Vince is an idiot. I think that dude's past his prime. I don't think he should be a leader of any wrestling company. And it's not that I hate WWE because I love NXT, and I just think every wrestling company should take this precautionary measure. I just don't think wrestling is essential. And like RJ said, I love pro wrestling. Love it. Can watch it whenever I want to. On YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter, on the WWE network, on AEW's YouTube channel, on Ring of Honor. It doesn't matter. There's so many different catalogs. New Japan Pro Wrestling has their own network. Like, I'm not going to die because there's not a live show tomorrow. Like, I'm fine. I'd rather these guys go home to their family and heal up. Thank God Roman Reigns is smart enough to tell Vince to fuck off. And the fact that, hey, I just beat leukemia. I'm not going to risk my life for a terrible match with Goldberg because your senile ass can't take us a break for at least a month. Not even a month. That, to me, is the most appalling thing of this whole situation. That they not just give him a month off. Just crazy, man. I just think it's so disingenuous, so dangerous. It's not a brand thing. It's a Vince McMahon thing. That's my beef. I think this dude is an absolute idiot. And I think the fact that he just wasted $24 million in 4 months with the XFL that just filed for bankruptcy today. and now they're trying to sell the entire franchise, the entire league, while firing everybody. And nobody got paid, by the way. Nobody got paid.
No way.
Nobody got paid. Everybody got screwed over, dude. Nobody got paid. And then it comes out that the WWE actually had ownership stake on the XFL, which was something that Vince heavily denied for the last 5 months.
I mean, how else did you think this would get funded, though? You really thought someone else was going to silently, like, be a part of the XFL, like, knowing how terrible it failed the first time? I mean, and, like, I watched a couple games this season, and the games were pretty good. They had pretty quality talent. Like, I felt like there was no real flaw in the XFL besides the fact that, viewership was not good. But they put on some pretty quality football games. But, I mean, the XFL is kind of doomed from the start as far as, like, people buying in on it from a financial standpoint.
It was always destined to fail. I don't get why people keep saying, oh, Vince was doing it the right way. What way is he doing it? It was always going to fail. I mean, there were star players, Matt McGloin.
Hey, man.
I get that you played a playoff game for the Raiders. They also lost that game by like 25 points.
This is true.
I just don't have sympathy for a guy who just lost a shit ton of money, who didn't even pay the employees. I feel bad for the employees who believed in this asshole that this was going to work. You can't go up against the NFL. It's not like a wrestling competition where you could start another wrestling company to go up against WWE. XFL was never going to work unless they got like the superstar player that was going to like, get a bunch of endorsements. I just didn't see that happening.
I mean, unless they signed Colin Kaepernick or Johnny Manziel, I didn't think it would work out either.
And, I mean, let's be honest, that they probably started the XFL on the way to be like, screw the NFL and all the players that are kneeing. We're the true American football sport. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, knowing how Vince McMahon is and knowing how he treats his talent in the WWE, I don't want to shoot those shots, but I'm just saying that it's usually how he operates. And I mean, we'll see how that goes. I don't feel bad he's losing money. I don't feel bad that he might go bankrupt. Like, this is decisions that you made, not just in this year. This has been building up. And I think those networks have every right to be like, yeah, I don't want to do this deal anymore. I mean, ever since this year started, SmackDown has been a 2-pack of ass, and nobody has even watched it. Why? Because you buried freaking Bray. You gave the title to an oversized, overrated, washed-up has-been of a so-called wrestler in Goldberg. Then you gave it to Braun's bitch ass, who's always complaining about money and then complaining about other people want money. The only reason he's in the WWE is because he's tall and freakishly sized. And now you're trying to give the title back to Bray. It's like, it's just a cluster of moments. Yeah. But like, I don't feel bad. I feel bad for the people that have to work for this guy at this point. If Rossi was here, Rossi would be wishing death on him. So shout out.
Oh, dude, yeah, Rossi would have put him in a coffin like 20 minutes ago, man.
Yeah. So yeah, that's our discussion so far with WWE. If you're with them, man, look, if you're a Mark, I know somebody's going to flood my comments and tell me, you just hate them. I'm like, I don't want to hate them. I just want to see that company actually ran well. And I can't wait to the day where the keys are finally given to Hunter and the Quick. And he's allowed to actually do the things that he actually wants to do. And we'll see if that
they won't directly give him the Hunter. Like, they'll give him to Stephanie, but Stephanie will be like, I don't want to run this shit. Like, It'll be Stephanie's company.
They'll give Shane 205 Live.
Unless Shane buys AEW, or buys Ring of Honor, like he was joking about on Twitter.
Yeah, and like all that shit. Like, shout out to Tony Khan, man. Like, he didn't have to shut down AEW. Like, that dude has a lot of money running on AEW and that TNT deal. And that dude is like, yeah, we're done.
Tony Khan is also a part of a smart, very rich family who was like, look, don't blow your money on this already. Like, even though they have their own facility technically in Jacksonville, Tony Khan is smart enough, and he's made very good business decisions thus far to be like, look, we got to take it easy. I respect Tony Khan's business a lot, and he's been doing a lot of good things so far, from an owner's standpoint,
Yeah. By the way, shout out to Ryan Sands, bitch ass. I told you you're going to be wrong about this topic. Anyways, I told him, man, you wanted to stand for AEW, and look who tested positive first. I know it's not about that. God damn, man, you kissed Vince's ass more than Vince Russo did. Anyway.
I mean, that's how you got the job up there, man.
Fox?
That's how you got that Fox job, man.
Might as well. All right. So usually we talk about wrestling mostly on Mats and Marks, but again, as you mentioned, we kind of been on a hiatus just because it's very difficult to get to that studio at the moment. But as soon as this thing clears up, Mats and Marks will return. But we're going to switch things up to get away from the wrestling topics because we want to save all that stuff when we do finally make our grand return to the Mats and Marks studios with me, RJ, and Joseph Saint. So we're going to jump into quick topics, man, because RJ's kind of into music and really, really into it, man. So I've always best those regards.
Yeah, man. Before I got into wrestling, I was and then currently still heavy into hip hop and journalism and radio. I'm also program director at True 100 Radio, a up and coming radio station out here in Orange County. And shout out to allhiphop.com and Urban Magazine, for giving me my start as a young hip hop journalist and radio guy and all that. So
you're two sides of the coin when it comes to the entertainment business. I think that's something that we don't really touch on when we do Mats and Mark all that much because we're just pushing the company and pushing the brand that we currently have. So, but on this podcast, we kind of just wrestling is here and there. As always, Orange E isn't really into wrestling all that much. This is where he comes in handy because he's heavily into music as well. So I asked him before we jumped on this podcast because this was a topic that was being heavily debated on the Twitterverse. 4 albums that you can listen to without skipping.
Oof.
So who wants to take the lead on this one?
I can just go ahead.
I was like, y'all go first.
You want to go first, Steve, or you want me to
go? You can go ahead first.
All right, I'll take the lead on this one then, since I ended the last topic. I debated this one, man, because it was hard for me to just pick 4. There's a lot of albums that I work with that I can keep going with. I had Tupac's All Eyes on Me originally in my top 4. I ended up taking it out because, it was hard for me bouncing up back and forth. But so far, my 4 that I have currently, Drake's Nothing Was the Same, Drake's Views, which might be controversial. I like Views. Kanye's 808 and Heartbreak. Shout out to that album for getting me through high school. And the final one, Neo's debut album.
Wait, Neo?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the curveball, man. I love that.
Holy!
That was one of the first CDs I ever bought. Was the Neo debut album when we were going to Walker Junior High. I bought that shit, man. I put up a CD player and go to school and listen to that shit. Neo was the shit, dude, and he still is.
All right.
Neo has some bangers.
Neo does have some bangers, man. That dude his debut album was legitimately one of the best R&B debut albums ever for me.
He did have really good singles on that album. I can't be mad at him.
Yeah, that dude, he just dropped them. I also had in the mix, again, Tupac's All Eyes on Me, and I also had Usher's Confessions there too as well. But I ended up leaning with Neo because I knew that would be the curveball. I knew it would be. I know some people like Neo. The 2 Drake albums, I debated between So Far Gone as well, and if you're reading this, it's too late. But I ended up going with Nothing With the Statement. Views, just because I remember listening to Views during some stuff I was going through back when it first debuted. Nothing bad, but just fun memories that I remember back in the days not back in the days. It was literally 5 years ago or 4 years ago that it dropped. Nothing's But the Same. It's probably back in my party days and drinking days. That was heavily played. I also consider
Same.
Yes. I also consider it Marvin's Room, but I feel like Marvin Room, when I look back at it, it's a lot of bad memories of drinking Jaeger.
Yeah, dude, Take Care has a lot of terrible drunk memories behind it.
Dude,
that just are not good.
I could taste the Jaeger in my mouth while crying over some bitch that didn't respond to my text.
Take Care is the reason why I started drinking Hennessy.
Damn. That's the origin of that one.
Yep, senior year of high school.
and then 808 Heartbreak. That one got me through high school big time. That one in Graduation from Kanye. As psycho as that dude is now, and I don't fucks with him now, but that 808 and Heartbreak, to me, the production on that album is insane.
Yeah,
it goes off. Auto-tune or not auto-tune, that shit goes hard. And the Cuddy feature, the Wayne feature, that album is just insane for me. But yeah, those are my four: Drake's Nothing Was the Same, Views, 808 and Heartbreak, and Neo's debut album.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just take over here.
I'll go first.
Mine. I don't want to say that it's all over the place. It's for the most part, I listen to like predominantly just like hip hop, R&B, whatever's in the top 40. You know what I mean? I try not to branch out too much. Besides that, but for one of the best albums I've ever heard was Zero Skips. This is not including, of course, any of the skits because those aren't songs, right? But I'm gonna throw in there Eminem, the Eminem Show. You know, that to me was the second hip hop album I've ever listened to. It's become like a popular trend like on Twitter to just hate Eminem nowadays. You know what I mean? I don't know where that started from. You know, Eminem's like one of the best rappers of all time. You know, outselling so many different artists on different genres, multiple different platforms as well. The second album I chose is Frank Ocean's Blonde. I just think it's one of the perfect albums. I know a lot of people don't really like Frank Ocean's just because even though he's R&B, he's like that album's a little bit of a mixture of R&B and indie. It's not. I would never classify it as an R&B album just because some of the beats that he has, some of the features that he has on the album doesn't signify it as an R&B album. But a third album that I chose was Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick Lamar. I think it's probably one of the best hip-hop albums of all time. Kendrick Lamar is already at whatever his age is, like younger than 30 probably, and one of the greatest rappers of all time already at his age, you know. And then the fourth album that I chose is going to be none other.
You hyping this up? Say it.
I know. I'm actually gonna go with Lil Wayne's The Carter 3. When that album came out, it literally changed hip hop. You know, it inspired people like Drake to come out. It inspired people like, you know, the Kid Cudis of the world, the Young Thugs of the world. Basically, what we listen to now on the radio is because of Lil Wayne, Carter 3.
The best T-Pain feature ever on that album, by the way.
Yeah.
Got Money is still my shit. I love that song.
You could play that anytime, anywhere, and that shit will go hard.
Man.
Hendrix 32, by the way.
Is he 32? I thought he was younger.
He's younger than Drake.
Yeah, he's younger than Drake.
What, 35 already?
Drake's up there, yeah. I mean, my four albums, number one, just because he's my favorite rapper of all time, and this was the first hip-hop album I listened to growing up. I kind of got on the hip-hop a little later, like when I was around like 10, because I grew up in Orange County, so I watched a lot of MTV growing up, you know. But Reasonable Doubt by Jay-Z, that's my first one. Nothing Was the Same, number two. Like that like I feel like I can relate to every song on that album for some reason. Like Drake just speaks to me. Number three, it's a Kendrick album, but it's Damn. Damn was just such a good it was just such a good body of work, man. And, watching him perform it live on tour just made me a bigger fan of Kendrick and just a bigger fan of that album. Cause like I was able to understand like a lot more songs, like a lot listening to that album, kind of like digesting it and listening to it backwards. That helped a lot. I'm right. That was two, right? No, that was three. My fourth one was tough because I like these two albums, but I'm gonna have to say The Chronic, man. The Chronic is a downright classic, dude. Like The Chronic just takes me that place, man. Like Dr. Dre is one of the best to ever do it. Like he's the voice of the West Coast, and like they're. I feel like after Dre, like there wasn't like that next big West Coast producer. Like there wasn't a producer that could come close. Like Mustard is good, but he's not Dr. Dre good. Like
no, he didn't take
Dr. Dre. Yeah, Dr. Dre's the be all end all. Like there's producers down south and on the east that were the greatest, but like people have been able to like surpass them. But Dre literally set the bar so high from not just a producing standpoint, well, not really a rapper standpoint, but like the fact that he made his own beats, he had his own sound. Like he literally created the West Coast sound.
Yeah. When you think Dr. Dre, you think of Compton, L.A., East L.A., Inglewood. That sound, it's Dre's, and you gotta give him credit for everything he gave us. Snoop, he gave us probably prime Tupac as well, and All Eyes on Me, and then you mentioned 50 and M and Shady Aftermath and all that. The dude just was such a pioneer, but he kept going with it. Like he never fell off. He maybe did it in silence, but like and he doesn't get enough credit for the beats either. Like the Beats headphones just took off like insane.
Oh, dude. And Death Row doesn't become what it is today without Dre's part. If Dre doesn't leave Ruthless, Death Row, and Pac might not even be as big if Dre never went to Death Row.
Yeah.
So I mean, Dre definitely was the trendsetter there, and doesn't get like as much credit as you can give Easy and Ice Cube for NWA success. Like you got to give it to Dre. Like Dre was the glue that held it together, especially when Cube left. Like Dre was that guy.
Yeah, that's a question too that I wanted to ask because you just brought it up. Do you think Death Row would still be around if Suge Knight wouldn't have ended up taking over? Like, let's say Dre had been the guy from day one with Death Row, and they had given him the keys instead of Suge. Do you think Death Row would still be around right now?
Yeah, or it would have probably lasted a little longer. Like, because like a lot of like, if you think about like the huge record labels back in the day, like. They're not really around like that. Like, not a lot of artists are like, really label centric, unless like you're talking about like TDE or Dreamville or, labels like that. But even then, those are more, I consider those more of like groups than labels. But yeah, I feel like if Dre was in charge, I mean, there would be a lot less, bullshit behind the scenes around Death Row. Like, we all know what Suge Knight brought to the table, being in charge. He led with an iron fist instead of, a mind for the music business, and he did kill Eazy. Let's just put that out there. He did, he did that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I feel Drake could have kept up the prominence of Death Row and could have competed with the Def Jams and the Rockefellers and the Cash Money and the No Limits. I think he could have. If he was in charge, but I mean,
yeah, that would have been wild, man, to see Death Row in that early 2000s run.
Yeah, man.
If they had, like, if you imagine if they would have signed just M and 50 to Death Row,
bro, that would have been it.
That would have changed the landscape of hip hop history right there. That would have
been it. But hey, we'll see what Hasbro can do with Death Row. Don't count Hasbro out.
Is it Ray J belling out Suge or some shit like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we might see the return of Suge and Ray J buys Death Row.
Look, hey, I wouldn't doubt Ray J for a second. Like Ray J's got pull like that too, man. You know, so
like low key, but that dude has some major pull with some of the things that happens behind the scenes. That dude's way more powerful than we think he is.
Look, the theories are true. I've read up on it. I know some people that are in those circles. You know, hey man,
he's not selling those bullshit glasses. Ray J's in the bag.
Look, it's like look. Ray J's that dude, man. He secretly runs LA and Calabasas.
That what he's showing? What was that?
Nah, just another random girl just fucking messaging me.
Hey now,
get exposed.
Get those DMs slid in.
Just to get to your Eminem thing though, real quick. I think people don't like him because before Kamikaze and the murder one he just dropped. Before that, it's like. He was just making the same. He made one track with Rihanna that popped off and was like a huge hit. And then he kept trying to make the same song over and over again with like Skylar Grey. Like he kept doing it over and over again. Where it's like,
he was overdoing the pop thing.
Yeah, like I don't want to hear Eminem and Ed Sheeran. I don't want to hear Eminem. I want to hear.
But that's sober Eminem though. Like that's sober Eminem. He's trying to change his lifestyle. So hanging out with Ed Sheeran. You know that helps out. That
that is still the worst song of this year. That Eminem Ed Sheeran track that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what's crazy about it is I know like of course the song is bad, and I think we can all three agree that Eminem isn't what he used to be. But you know there's still an audience for Eminem music. You know he's still outselling a lot of artists today, even with as bad as his music is. Which I think is just like how dedicated his fan base is. I think like the stan, because you know Eminem pretty much he created the word stan. You know stan culture on Twitter.
Yeah, he's a legend.
You know, so like Eminem stans are like undefeated. Like they're probably if Eminem keeps rapping to a 70, he's probably going to still like be streaming. You know, like up there, like top 10 rappers of all time. If Eminem fans are still, you know.
No, I agree with them. I think with M is like what you bring up that he gets a lot of hate. I think the hate was because we know he could rap. Mm-hmm. We know he could drop bars. He could drop amazing projects, but like he got lazy for a little bit. You know what I mean? He dropped like 2 or 3 projects where he's like, I'm going to go poppy on them because I'm going to get another Hot 100 track on there. Just like me did a few years back when all these kids were in high school and now they're grown-ass adults. We don't want to listen to that, man. We don't want to hear like these. And it's not even Rihanna he's getting. He got Pink and Ed Sheeran. That's the whole problem. If Drake dropped a song with Ed Sheeran, I would slander that dude as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm not even going to lie to you. The last album that he dropped, 3 songs, and I just stopped. And the one before that, I just didn't even listen to it. So whatever his like last like 4 or 5 albums are, I'm not even going to lie. I've never even listened to them.
The last one's not that bad.
You know what I mean? I stopped after the 2nd or 3rd song because it was just lame. Because it was just him like rapping fast, and I was just like, just because you rap fast doesn't mean like it's like, you know what I mean? Doesn't mean you're talented or.
Yeah, and I think that's what Eminem is. He can't find the common ground. It's like he either has to rap fast or he has to do a pop song. It's like just rap, dude.
Yeah, I feel like Eminem hasn't caught on to the whole nostalgia thing. Like his fans are still his fans and want to listen to his music, which is why his streams are so high because it's just like with Lil Wayne. I didn't like Lil Wayne's last album, but I listened to it because I'm a fan of Wayne. And I'm expecting at least a glimpse of the old Wayne. Like, at least, you know, like the wit of Wayne, you know? Like, so I think fans are still listening to M because they're expecting, like, him to spit some Marshall Mathers shit where, like, he says at least something crazy about Kim, but, like, now they're all buddy-buddy and shit now. Like, it's not the same. Yeah. You know?
It's like Kid Cudi too. Like he hasn't dropped a hit in a minute, but he's still pushing out like 299K in albums because he's Kid Cudi. Like it just the name means more than the actual music at this point when it comes to starting artists. But that brings me now to this one. Give me your top 5 all-time favorite rappers. This is going to be very debatable, but I'm going to let E, you start with this one because I started the last one.
All right. First of all, when I'm defining like the best I'm not gonna, name my favorites because I think we should like define that first, right? Because if we're gonna list like our favorites and the best, there's two different ways you can word that. If it was,
This is not the best. This is just the ones you fucks with, the ones that you can listen to whenever, your favorite ones, pretty much. Because if we go into best, that's a whole different.
so we're saying our favorites then, right? Not our best.
Yeah, your favorite
Okay.
wrestlers ever.
So our favorites then, not including the best, will be like ordered in rank. Don't slander me. But number one will be Kanye West. He's not the best rapper of all time. He would never be the best rapper of all time, but he's definitely probably one of the most influential rappers of all time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
His music's timeless. Along there with like Lil Wayne, influenced a generation. Number two for me that I think is timeless, and my second favorite rapper of all time is actually going to be Eminem. Like I know I just slandered him saying that I didn't listen to like his last few albums, but like people forget like Eminem had like one of the best like 3 record albums of all time, like back to back to back, like Eminem Show, Curtain Call, Mocking, like all like those 3 albums are like classics. You know what I mean? Like they're pretty much every single song on there is just absolutely amazing. My third favorite rapper of all time, it's actually gonna be Kendrick Lamar. Like I said, Kendrick Lamar is just super talented. He's from the West Coast, so I just feel like I almost feel obligated to like him. For like at first, I was like so hesitant to like Kendrick Lamar just because like he came out of nowhere. And when people, do you guys know what an industry plant is or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. At first, I thought he was an industry plant, so I was just like, man, nah. And then like I noticed that he started like fucking with Dr. Dre, and then I was like, okay, let me give this dude a chance. And so I kind of caught into him like in the middle of his popularity. Like I wasn't one of the first, I wasn't the last, kind of like in the middle. You know what I mean? Anyways, my fourth favorite rapper of all time, it's actually going to be 50 Cent. Get Rich or Die Trying was actually the first album I ever listened to, the first album I ever bought. I think that that album just 50 Cent just means a lot to me personally. You know what I mean? Like he's the one that got me into rap music. I think he's dope, even though he's a piece of shit now. He was just, but dude, that music video of him like hanging backwards, with the little shit all over his, body, upside down. That's a classic music video right there.
Oh, the fucking In the Club video.
Yeah, exactly that beat. Like, oh, Dr. Dre killed that shit. Like that whole album, Dr. Dre just killed. And then my fifth favorite artist, or not artist, but rapper of all time. I don't know if you can call him a rapper or not. Fuck, my bad. Frank Ocean, does he count as a rapper? Maybe.
I'd feature Frank Ocean, yeah.
All right, so let's say like 5.5. So, him or Drake, whichever one. If you define, Frank Ocean as a rapper or not, So.
No, I feel you on that one. You want me to go, or you want to take this one?
I'll take it. Why not?
All
right. So number one, Jay-Z. He pretty much defined an era for me. So like Jay-Z. Second, Biggie. I feel like you can't say hip hop without Biggie being a name that you mentioned. As far as the greats, or like just his flow, man. Like his wordplay was crazy. Like just knowing like the background he came from, like his freestyle, like just bananas. Third, Drake. Drake can do no wrong in my book, man. Like Drake is undefeated. He's been undefeated since Degrassi. Drake is my guy. Fourth, yeah. Fourth is Method Man. Like Method Man was the best in all of Wu-Tang. A lot of people say Old Dirty, but I feel like Method Man just was the best lyricist in the group. one of the best East Coast rappers like that don't get a lot of credit. Yeah, Method Man. And fifth, Mac Miller. Mac Miller, like a lot of Mac Miller's music like hit me at points when it came out. And I was always just so fascinated by like the shit he said. And like him being like a white boy too, like just made him like 10 times, like better to me. So Mac Miller's my top 5 for sure.
Do you think Mac Miller is a better white rapper than Eminem?
Yeah.
Just rapper.
Mac Miller makes better music. He makes better music than Eminem. And, Mac Miller was never sober. So, yeah, I'll give it to Mac Miller. I'll give that to Mac Miller. Rest in peace, Mac Miller.
Circles is pretty good. Like, that one is going to age beautifully. Circles.
Bro, his last album is immaculate, dude.
Yeah, it's really good. Obviously, rest in peace to Mac. My 5, just real quick to round them off, probably be, let me get mine. But number 1, Drake, obviously. I'm a Stan hard. The Bret Hart of the rap game, greatest of all time. There is, best there
Wait, Bret Hart?
Best there ever will be. No, but on the real, he's the LeBron James of hip-hop right now.
Okay, there you go.
He's LeBron. I'll use the Bret Hart just because of the GIF I always use on Twitter whenever I mention.
Yes.
Whenever I mention,
which is legendary.
Like Bret. That's a dick. Drake, but Drake, to me, he's the LeBron James of hip hop. He kills it. There's a different style from him where it's like, God, this dude is in a different stratosphere and a level that he could only go to. And I feel like LeBron has those same qualities. Number 2 was the former greatest of all time for me, at least growing up, Tupac Shakur. That dude's lyrics have lived forever. I mean, it's one of the greatest lyricists of all times, in my opinion. Just his messages, I've always kept with me since a kid. But All Eyes on Me was one of my first albums I ever got. I think I got it when I was still in elementary school, and I used to just play that on repeat, both sides. They're just one of the best of all time. Like, that guy, he was kind of like one of the first like characters in the rap when it came to like a heel, you know what I mean? Where it's just like you wanted to hate him, but he would just rap so well that it was like, holy shit. But he was obviously the bad guy in every situation. He was the perfect villain for 90s hip hop. And it sounded good. And he's one of the best musicians, artists I've ever heard or listened to. Number 3, pains me to say it, man, but just because of how he's been the last few years, Kanye West. I mean, the dude released albums that changed my life. I still love The Life of Pablo, even though 2 days before I was going to see the concert at the Honda Center, you freaking canceled it. So shout out to Kanye for that one.
Shout out to Kanye.
I just think, dude, like you said, a generational talent, one of the best producers ever. Just talented in ways you can never imagine. He could be so much better than what he currently is. That dude could be doing some magical shit like Childish Gambino or the Jordan Peeles of the world. He's that talented, but he just has a tick, man, where he just likes to do stupid shit to promote his new shoes or his new album or his gospel singer, or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of potential there still in Kanye. I just feel like he could do so much more, but it is what it is. That's what happens when you date Kardashian. You either go crazy or you do crack. The next one is Weezy, Lil Wayne, man. Lil Wayne got me through high school as well. Like the Carter 3, all the Carters, honestly. Young Money, everything, man. This dude, for me, just continued to drop classics when I was in high school. Wayne, even though he's washed at this point now, but when he had that run probably from 2008 to 2011, nobody could touch him. I think him, T-Pain, and Kanye ran 2008 to 2011, which fist. The Auto-Tune era, man, they just owned it in a way that nobody else has owned it yet. Like, we have the Drakes and the Kendricks and the Coles and the Seans and all that, but those 3, Payne, Wayne, Kanye, they're just on a different level of where anybody else is at this moment. And number 5, Hove. I think Hove's whole catalog of work just speaks for itself. It's aged beautifully. What he's done for the game, what he's done for other artists. He's probably had the best duet album with Kanye ever, I know Drake and Future have a pretty solid one as well, but that Watch the Throne is end of day, one of the best projects I've ever heard. It is just so spectacularly well done, produced, and when those two get together, it's Shaq and LeBron levels. I'm not Shaq and LeBron. Well, no, not Shaq and LeBron. Not when they were in Cleveland.
Yeah, I was like, yo, Shaq and LeBron was not good together,
man. It was not a good one. It was not
Shaq
a good
and
one.
LeBron.
I take that back. Thinking of LeBron still. Oh, no, it was Shaq and Kobe levels of greatness when Kanye and Hope got together in the booth. But yeah.
Shaq and LeBron.
Shaq.
I was like, Shaq and LeBron got swept by Boston, man.
I know, man. Shaq fucking hit that series. That shit was over in 4. Yeah, but that's my 4. Mac Miller, that's a surprising one, man. But I see why you would pick that one. And I think when you go back, like again, I think Eminem got way too commercially successful for his own good.
Mm-hmm.
Mac was just still that gritty kind of low key type of music where you could just vibe to better.
And yeah, like his were just vibes. And when you talked about Kanye, Wayne, and T-Pain, one thing they do have in common is that, in 2011, they all made 3 terrible rock and roll tracks. So
that's when they started falling off a little bit. That 2008 was not like 2008 to 2010 was just insane.
That was them. That was all them.
Around, they start dropping. But if you notice, that's when the Drakes and the Kendricks and the Cole started kind of going up a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of the passing of the torch. I mean, you can only have a run for so long. It's insane how long Drake's run has lasted at this point.
I know, dude.
Like,
and it's not stopping. It's not stopping. I'm telling you.
Toosie Slide, number 1 on the Hot 100.
Bro, he just taught everyone a new dance and how to moonwalk correctly.
Go bitch about that.
All in one song. I bet Abel regrets not staying with OVO.
Should have not talked about Usher and just stuck to pushing his shit, man.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Have you listened to the new Usher Luda Lil Jon track?
It's not as good as I thought it'd be. Like Lovers and Friends is definitely hands down better. But yeah, like, this song is good.
For them, as washed as they are in 2020, I'm like, oh, this is actually surprisingly pretty good.
I forgot about, like, look, if it's not a Fast and Furious movie, I forgot about Ludacris. If no one's talking about Southern hospitality or chicken and beer, I talked about Ludacris as far as a hip hop from a music standpoint in a minute. So it was good to see Ludacris back in the booth and not next to Tyrese in a Hummer somewhere.
If he's not with Tyrese, we don't care. Like, go back chasing the rock and being Diesel, man. And well, that brings me to this next topic, which I want to make full disclosure. I did not want to bring this topic up. This is all on Orange E because he's the one that's been asking me this question since the whole Mayweather's daughter stabbing some guy. I mean, who was it? Or E, let them know the story because I don't know anything about this whole Mayweather shit. And then I'll get to the question that you want us to talk about.
Right. So basically, Mayweather's daughter, Yaya is her name. She is, yeah.
Floyd named his daughter Yaya?
I'm not sure if that's her full name or nickname, but that's just like, you know what I mean? Like, so she goes by. So Yaya, she's like married or engaged to this rapper who's from Louisiana, right? And his name is NBA Youngboy. Disclaimer: this is an unbiased opinion. Dude. You know, like I don't like his music. I think he's ass, to be honest.
So he's trash.
Yeah.
So you're allowed to take the NBA name and drag it like that.
Oh,
right. So I guess one day Yaya's coming back from doing whatever she was doing, came home, and she found another girl in bed with NBA Youngboy. And I guess an altercation came up, and she was getting beat up. So what she did, first thing you do when you're getting beat up in your own household, grab the closest weapon that you can. And what did she do? She grabbed a knife. She stabbed this girl like 3 times.
Yeah. So Yaya was getting beat up? Like a Mayweather was getting beat up?
Yeah, so the daughter was getting beat up, and then she stabbed the other girl that was in bed with her like husband or fiance.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Floyd getting beat up by like Miguel Cotto and just stabbing him in the 6th round?
Yeah, but they didn't know how to fight. They did not teach her anything like how to throw a jab or anything.
Right? Like Uncle Roger wasn't teaching her how to duck and dodge. Like, what's going on?
All right, so it brings up this question that you've been asking me. Who's the worst father, Mayweather or 50 Cent?
That's the greatest podcast topic in question I've ever heard.
I'm going to take the first nab at this. Look, I'm going to say 50. And this is whenever you go on Instagram and beef with your kid is one thing. But going on Instagram and saying, okay, whoever kills this little shit is going to get paid very well because they're Tekashi 6ix9ine. Yeah, that's how the beef started. The son was talking shit about. He was like, "Oh man, I guess this must be his true biological son." I guess 50 saw that and was like, "Whoever kills this kid is gonna get paid." It's like you're gonna put a hit out on your kid. Like anytime that gets that far, you're kind of a scummy dad. And I mean, I kind of wished better for 50. Josh should pay attention to that and make slander out of that instead of trying to go one-on-one on IG Live, hit by hit.
Oh, no, trust me. Ja Rule's got some slander ready for 50. Don't even worry about it.
See, man. I'm going to say 50. I think Mayweather is not there, but I think he takes care of them with the money.
Yeah, I was like, at least, Floyd has money at least. Yeah. I'm going to say 52, man. Like, this is bad, dude. Like, first off, you're choosing Tekashi 6ix9ine. Like, he straight up said it. I would choose Tekashi 6ix9ine over my kid, first off. And if you're going to kill any kid, 50, you should have killed Tariq in Power, but you didn't. So, like, that's also on you, 50. Like, what's wrong with you? But, yeah, man, like, 50 Cent, he's taking an L in this fatherhood thing. I don't know what he's doing. Like, but, yeah, no, man, like, you know what his son should do? He should pull a Shane McMahon and go fund Ja Rule's Fire Fest. And take that shit off the ground, just rub it in 50's face.
50
that'd be lit.
Ja Rule team up to get him. Oh, that'd be kind of lit. I'd pay for that.
I would go to the Bahamas if that was the case. I would totally risk.
Risk. All right, you let us know since this is your topic.
So I'm going to go against the grain here. I'm going to say that Mayweather's the worst father. And this is why I think that 50 Cent's son is in a better position than, his Floyd Weathered's like children are. Because picture this, 50 Cent's son has such a cool origin story, dude. Like, father abandoned him, didn't want him, has a murder or a bounty on his head, like, and then, you know what I mean? That's like a badass origin story for any type of like anti-hero or whatever. You know what I mean? And just picture this, dude. Like, 50's son never had him in his life. Whereas Floyd Weather's children, like, Floyd Weather just gave them money and thought that was enough. You know what I mean? Like, wasn't there, like, imagine just having, like, a father but him not giving a fuck. But, like, I would rather not have a father at all than have a father that would just give me money and I knew they didn't care about me. Does that make sense at all or not?
I'd rather have no father,
I feel it.
Father that's trying to kill me.
That part too.
I don't need a dad. I'd rather keep my life intact. Like, I'm chill. Like, I don't have to see you. I can find out about you later on, but we good.
I mean, something tells me Floyd's richer than 50 still.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't know.
Didn't his last fight get get him like 100 million or some shit?
Yeah.
To get some ridiculous amount of money. Floyd,
he just said recently, like, he still hasn't touched that money either. Like, he's still spending money from his career and hasn't even touched that Conor fight money. So, like, he's sitting in it for sure.
Yeah. And I don't know why that dude is flirting with the idea of UFC. Like, dude, you're set. You know? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get it either. He has a legacy. Like, dude.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to get towards the end of this podcast. We always do a questionnaire at the end of the Hollywood Uncensored Podcast, which we have 6 questions today, which is actually a record. Make sure you send your questions in whenever I put any information on the Instagram. So we got 6 questions. 5 of them are wrestling related. So try to do your best. I'll kind of explain it low key when we get to it. One of them is kind of ridiculous, but I mean, to each their own. But let's get to the first one. How do you feel about Rousey's recent comments, and do you think it's a work?
Ronda, look, I didn't support her decision to come to WWE at first. You know, you know. But I mean, I was a fan of Ronda. Don't get me wrong. Like she was one of the best women fighters. But not even I wouldn't even classify her. She was one of the best fighters of all time. Like Ronda was, yeah. I mean, yeah. But I mean, she was one of the best fighters at the time, and I think that loss to like her losing to Holly Holm in the way she lost really fucked her up.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like she hasn't been the same since. So she felt like she could come to the WWE and claim this was her dream. I've always wanted to eventually do this, you know, because she felt she was better than a lot of those girls, which she probably is. Like I'll give it to her. She probably is a lot more talented and gifted athletically than a lot of those girls in the WWE locker room. But being a pro wrestler as compared to an MMA fighter, I feel pro wrestlers should get a lot more credit for the things they do more than MMA fighters. If you really think of an MMA fighter schedule, they're not going year long as a pro wrestler is. They go, 6 to 8 weeks for one fight. You know, they train as hard as they can. They get their bodies right. After the fight, they cool down for a month and get back at it again. Wrestlers are going 365 days a year. And from a WWE standpoint, you're traveling. You're going overseas. You don't see your family. You're constantly in hotel rooms. You got to find a LA Fitness or a hotel gym to work out at. Like they're supposed to keep their bodies in check 24/7 while they're on this crazy travel schedule, working shows day and night in bumfuck towns across the world, you know, whether it's televised or it's a live show, and putting their lives on the line, like putting their bodies on the line. Like Hollywood, we've watched wrestling all our lives, and we know any move that they do in the ring, they can get hurt from or killed or paralyzed. Like Draws got paralyzed from a power bomb, you know, like any given day could be one's last match, you know. And I feel like Ronda came into the WWE not respecting that fully. She came in knowing she was a big name. She didn't get all the training that a regular WWE superstar would get. So she came in based on her namesake.
Yeah.
And got the opportunity she got based on her namesake. Her first wrestling match was a tag team match with Kurt Angle as her partner against Triple H and Stephanie McMahon at WrestleMania. The next year, she main evented WrestleMania. Once again, that doesn't happen without her namesake, so I'll give her that. But on a scale of 1 to 10, Hollywood, how good was that match?
Which one, the triple threat match or the tag team?
The triple threat match.
I gave it like a 4.
Yeah. So she comes in on her namesake and is not a good, like, not polished at all. She didn't really put the time in to really hone the craft of being a wrestler. She just pretty much went off of the fact that she's a great judo fighter. Judo and pro wrestling are two different things. Even Ken Shamrock had to adapt to being a fucking wrestler. Shayna Baszler, who is one of her best friends, has adapted to being a great wrestler.
A million times better wrestler than she is right now.
Brock Lesnar went to UFC and came back and had to adapt again to be a great wrestler. Granted, Brock Lesnar is a freak of a human being.
If you're that fine, you should be able to do that shit.
You feel me? Like, so like I feel like Ronda just never took being in WWE seriously from the jump. She never took wrestling seriously from the jump. So all the things she said, I was like, that's how she really feels. Whether it's a work or a shoot, like that's how she really sees the pro wrestling business. And how can you respect that? So I support all those girls who are tweeting like, yeah, like when I see you in the ring, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Except Lana, like, come on.
Oh, yeah.
Like, come on, you're in a hold storyline. We're not taking your tweets.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Was that the one that tweeted you?
Huh?
Was that the one that I showed you, like in a screenshot?
Here's the one you screenshot. She's like terrible. Like that's the last person.
I literally saw like I just I saw it trending on Twitter, and I was just looking through the things. I saw the dumbest one, and I sent it to him, and I guess that's what you guys are talking about.
She's cringe. Let's be honest, she's only there because she has blonde hair and she looks good.
She's pretty though.
TikToks. But at the end of the day, man, I think it's a work. I think there's just shits that Paul Heyman's writing for her to say pretty much. But I do agree that I think she showed up thinking that we were all going to just be enamored by who she is and like pretty much shook about who she is. And because she shows up to the Roddy Piper jacket and she has a hit song as her theme music that we're all going to be like, yeah.
That was her first mistake, the Roddy Piper gimmick.
That we thought we were all going to be like, oh, she's a megastar just right off the bat. It's like, no, we remember you for losing 2 UFC fights, going MIA, not doing anything for a while, and then running to Vince McMahon's open arms to do the quote-unquote fake fighting. That's essentially what you did. You can't call out the wrestlers for not being in real fighting when you got your ass kicked twice and ran to the fake shit. Which is fine. Make your money. Colby Covington's bitch ass is going to do the same thing too. Connor eventually. They're all going to make their way down there. WWE has this weird fascination with signing all these ex-UFC fighters. I mean, fucking Cain Velasquez is already there. Exactly. We all thought Cain Velasquez was going to be this megastar, and ended up, no, he's a really terrible wrestler, and he shouldn't be in this business because he has 2 knees that are as bad as Shaquille O'Neal's knees. So maybe don't that much, man. I think from her point of view is just like, okay, I get that you're trying to be different, and I know you were trying to get the respect of the audience. But like you said, the worst way was to come out like a Roddy Piper and try to be like, I'm this new version of it. I'm the female version of it. It doesn't work. People respect Piper. They don't respect you. They haven't seen enough.
Love Piper.
Yeah, her first WrestleMania match, I thought it was the best match of that WrestleMania when she tagged team with Angle against Hunter and Stephanie. I thought it was actually a really good match to build upon.
Yep.
Everything else after that was just garbage. The match with Nia Jax, garbage. The match with the plethora of other wrestlers she ended up wrestling during her time here, they were just bad. The triple threat match ended with a botch. And they built that up for almost a year, dude, and it went nowhere. So I get her point of view, but I will say I really do hope it's a work, and I do think it is because I think they are planning to bring her back for SummerSlam at some point. But we will see if it eventually pays off. I think they want her to have as the most heat she can get, which is her as a heel makes way more sense than what they did.
Oh, yeah. Her trying to get the fan. And in that regard, I see where she's coming from as far as, the fans are ungrateful. Well, I mean, you kind of came in on some weird stuff. Like, you came in trying to be Roddy Piper, expecting the fans to cheer for that. You got handed the Raw Women's title. And realistically, I think Nia Jax, who is a 6', 280 Samoan woman, could beat the shit out of Ronda in real life.
Yeah.
You know?
Holly Holmes is going to kick your head off. I'm pretty sure Nia just...
I'm just saying. Yeah. You know?
What's your opinion on all this? Because, I mean, from your outside looking in, you've seen Ronda actually fight, and then she tries to make the transition to wrestling. It's kind of a weird aspect that's going on.
You know, I'm not going to sit here and lie. I don't think I have enough information. You know, like, I honestly, I forgot she was even in wrestling until I saw that tweet. I saw it trending, and I was like, dude, I completely forgot you were in wrestling, you know? But I think I told you in a private conversation, like, I can see where she's coming from. Keep in mind, I've never seen a wrestling match of her, so I don't know the background. You guys are saying like a lot of things I don't know anything about, but I can see where she's coming from. You know, like, if I were to come into a new organization or whatever, and the fans are being whacked, why would I want to be there? You know what I mean? Like,
because that's wrestling. You should know. Yeah,
exactly. And but then I think you told me, or someone, I either saw that on Twitter, or you told me that it's like a publicity stunt or something like that, right?
Yeah, I think it's I think it's a storyline that they're trying to push.
Yeah, so I mean, it makes sense. So if it's a fake drama, then like, why would you tweet that? You're pretty much saying it's a double-edged sword. So this is fake, and you're claiming that it's fake. So what's fake? You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of dumb.
All right. So we're going to do 2 more questions because all these questions are pretty much the same now that I'm looking at them. Thoughts on the Revival changing their name, and where do you think they end up at?
I mean, I think the Revival will go to AEW. I feel like they go the indie route for a little bit when everything gets cleared up, kind of just to, shake off being in the WWE system for so long. Yeah. So I think they'll do your PWGs, they'll do, the Beyonds. They'll probably do a short run in like TNA or Ring of Honor. Not like a short run, but
still making a run at New Japan.
Yeah, like they'll do those, but I think they'll ultimately sign to AEW as a giant fuck you to Vince and join the competition.
Yeah, we're getting Revival versus Young Bucks at some point. It's gonna happen.
They have to. They've been doing this for what, 2-3 years?
But yeah, the FTR built to that shit. Like, we're finally gonna pay off to that. I don't think they're gonna walk away from the money Tony Khan offers them and the potential to clear that up. For the love of God, please don't hire Jim Cornette as your manager. I know he's pushing for that. That's hard as hell. Not. AEW, listen to me, man. You hired that racist piece of shit. I am not watching it anymore. I can't see that dude on TV.
Like, I barely like listen to Jim Cornette on the dark side of wrestling when he speaks. Like, I don't think I could.
Well, it's just a pissing contest between him and Russo. So it's like, I don't care about neither of you guys. You guys are both shitty at your jobs, and that's why you guys are in the position you guys are in now.
And look, I'm more of a fan of Russo than I am of Cornette, and that's not really saying much. But like, I would definitely choose Russo over Cornette.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I might go.
The Russo brothers are in WWE too?
Huh?
The Russo brothers are in WWE too?
No, not the Infinity War guys.
That would be. Hey, look, WWE needs good writers. So
I mean, they hire guys that write movies and TV shows, so who knows? But no, Vince Russo is some of that. I will say I'll give Vince Russo the push over Cornette because he did push Booker T at WCW. That was Vince Russo one claim to fame. In all honesty, giving Booker the title run.
What storylines are Freddie Prinze Jr. writing? Like, didn't he write? I Know What You Did Last Summer. I know the dude can write.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. A final question, which I thought was the most funniest. You don't have to answer this one if you don't want to, but I'm going to leave this one as the final one. It comes from somebody that we actually know. What's the most toxic thing a female has done to you in your life?
Oh, my God. How much time is left on this podcast?
I mean, this is the last one. I mean, you can take as much time as you want. I mean,
the most toxic thing a female has ever done to me.
Because in past episodes, Orange E got like a literal essay typed out for him, and they put it on the windshield of his car.
Oh, shit.
And the letter was just magical, man. It was just... Hey,
question. Was she a white girl?
Latina.
Oh, shit. I mean, Latinas are crazy, but like, I can deal with Latina crazy. White girl crazy, that's a whole other ball game, man. I can't do it. But toxic thing, man, I don't know. There's so many. I guess a safe one would be
a safe one.
What, before Valentine's Day last year? My ex-girlfriend, kayfabe, but me and Joseph Saint were roommates at one point. And me and my ex-girlfriend got into a really stupid argument, right? As most arguments are with women. A very stupid argument. And she said a lot of shit. I said some shit. And Joey intervened. And he got in the middle. It's like, yo, like, y'all need to cut this shit out, bro. Like, for real. Next thing you know, like, I'm in my room, and I thought she had left. I thought she was gone. She comes back an hour later, and come to find out, she made me a pizza.
What?
Like a heart-shaped pizza.
With rice?
And I was scared. I was scared to eat it at first. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was scared to eat it at first.
Poison in that shit.
And you know her, Hollywood. Dude. You would think, but like, she kind of apologized. It wasn't a total apology, but like, she was just like, look, I might have been in the wrong.
I might have been. I love when they don't go full commitment on how wrong they
You
are.
know, like she was teetering on this apology. Like she was saying some like very like backhand, like it was a very backhanded apology. And she just leaves the pizza on my bed, and I was like, I'm not eating that shit. Like, I don't know. I didn't even know you were still in the house cooking this fucking pizza. I eventually ate the pizza, and I'm still here. So,
Sorry to do eventually eating.
So I mean, that's probably one of the more lighthearted toxic things that's ever happened.
All right, E, you take this one next, and I'll go last because mine's kind of disturbing. And you meet up with crazy ass chicks, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say like Hollywood and I, so many different stories I can name, but I think the first one that probably comes into mind is one time we were at a Buffalo Wild Wings and I was dating this girl at the time. Her name was Brianna.
Yeah, we're gonna expose her like that.
She doesn't watch this, what's up. And then it was me, you, your girlfriend, and myself at Buffalo Wild Wings. And
in Buena Park?
Yeah, in Buena Park. And then I don't know what we were talking about, but for some reason your ass, we were talking about like fancy football or baseball or something like that.
Oh yeah, football.
And for whatever reason, you stated that we had an open spot and like that she could have joined or something like that.
No, I did not say that. I said we had a fantasy league and we had one more spot open and I gave it to my girl.
And whatever the situation, I forgot what it was. I'll go with that. Whatever, she throws a fit because she was like a big, sports fan. She would claim she was a big sports fan, but I don't think she was. No. She literally threw a fit at Buffalo Wild Wings about why I didn't invite her into a fantasy football, baseball league, like in front of everybody. She was like, you're gonna. He invited his girlfriend to a fantasy football league. Why can't I get an invite? And I was like, dude, like who cares? You know what I mean? Like just eat your wings. I'm paying for it. Know your role. Like just
know your role.
Yeah, like just that to me was like just super toxic. That defined our relationship for like a year and a half, whatever it was.
That was
there's definitely more toxic things that have happened, but that's one of the more lighthearted ones, I would say.
Yeah, see, I want to get into the deep toxic shit that's happened.
I'll go into the deep toxic shit then. You guys bitched out soft. No, I'll go into it, but I won't go like way too into it because I'll probably get this video banned if I did. Let's just say it was a certain time. End up with this one girl. We're hanging out, and let's just say the jersey ended up being stained, unbeknownst to me, until the lights went on.
Stained with what?
I'll leave it at that. With the Kool-Aid.
Wait, is this a Laker jersey?
No, this is one of these old white Yankee jerseys I used to cherish a lot.
Oh shit!
So,
was it a Jeter jersey?
It was. So we're in the back doing our thing. Doesn't tell me a word.
Damn.
Lights out. Dark. It's nighttime. I'm worried about the pigs. I'm worried about this. The look on my face when I came out and the moon shined on me, dude. You would think I was in the shining elf.
Like, did I just kill someone? What just happened?
I was like, damn. There's something to shop at.
Wait, is this super bad vibes?
It's one of those, but maybe worse because that one was just a little spot. This one was.
So it was a puddle.
Yeah, it's like literally, it's like the shining elevator's open. I was in there, and I came swimming up. That was probably the most. And then she blamed me for it. So yeah, that was funner.
Wait, she blamed you for?
Yeah, and I'm like, how?
How does that work?
I don't know. That was probably like the third or last time I saw her. Probably too. I think things got crazier after that. There's other shit that happened with that one. I should have known since that day. Actually, that she was on the wrong one.
Damn.
There was a lot of signs I should have told you she was the wrong one.
But that was before all that shit happened. That was the first one, probably.
See, don't you hate when you get out of like a bad relationship and then all your friends are like, see, there were a couple signs that you should have got away with that. Well, where were y'all when these signs showed up?
You tell me now.
I'm over here all in love and shit, and could have gotten pulled out, but I got in too deep,
Now I'm
you wanted
6 drinks deep, hoping to play a break on the karaoke machine, and it saved me like a month ago.
Yeah, now you want to come out the woodwork being like, see, I told you when the first time this happened. No, you didn't. No, you did not.
You said she was the best girl I ever met.
Yeah. All y'all said she was cool. Wow, she's fun. She should come back more often. She should live with us.
It goes like a click, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, you should have known better. It's like, what do you mean I should have known better? You should have told
me. To be honest, I should have known once my girl and Joey's girls stopped getting along. That was like, maybe I should stop.
That's one of the key signs.
Yeah.
Start beefing with each other. It's like, there's something wrong. I remember the Orange E thing because I remember sitting there with my girl and just looking at them, and they're like going back and forth. I'm like, this is the most awkward double date I've ever been on in my life. And I want
was the food already on the table when this happened?
Yeah, and she's like pointing in his face, being like, you should have told me, I always invite you to my fantasy league. And I'm like, there's no more spots left. I needed one more spot. I didn't have that many friends then, so I'm like, I didn't have that many people. I asked my girl, like, it's not like we had an extra spot and gave it to a random. I had an extra spot, and I gave it to my girl. I didn't know I had to, like, pass it through Edwin so he could pass it to his girl to see if she wanted first. Like, even if she wanted, I was still going to give it to my girl because it's my league.
Hello.
And they're like,
come on now.
All of our freaking food? Spitting and shit in his face. Like,
I'm trying to.
Come on, man.
I'm trying to eat my Asian zing like everybody else in here,
This is a family restaurant, man.
I mean, it is the Buena Park Buffalo Wild.
I was about to say that is the same B-dubs that I had to be carried out of after my 21st birthday show. I shouldn't.
Oh, that's lit.
Yeah, that one.
I've had to carry someone out at one point in life.
This is crazy. Anyways, my boys, this has been episode number 14 of the Hollywood Uncensored Podcast. As always, it is your boy Hollywood Hogan, Orange E on whatever side I'm pointing at, and this way. And our guest down low, the homie RJ Wallace. Thank you for being the first guest, brother.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me, man. This is an honor. It's a real honor.